I was bamboozled, hoodwinked, downright flim-flammed. And honestly, it nearly killed my progress before it even started. My name's Rissamore, and for the first 2 months, I did what most beginners are told to do: just hack. So I started learning random tools, watching random tutorials, and stumbled my way through a bunch of random labs. And the entire time, I was developing absolutely no skills. Eventually, I found the learning path that finally worked. And if you're stuck trying to find a path, feeling overwhelmed, or doubting if you can actually learn this is the one video that I wish that I had on day one. Today, I'm going to walk you through the exact steps I use to go from confused and scattered to finally understanding how hacking works. So let's go ahead and get into it. Look, I don't want you to misunderstand anything that I'm saying. There is really great beginner content out there, but only if you know what to look for. The problem with this path is that there's so much to learn. It's really hard to know what you don't know. And if you don't know what you don't know, it's really hard to know that you have to learn it. Even to this day, as I go through YouTube, I see a lot of videos that say, just start hacking. And they all tend to either say, start poking around on some bug bounty program or start doing capture the flags. And to an extent, they're right. But you have to have a specific level of understanding before you can even get to that point. So if I had to go back and do it all again, this is what I would do different. The first thing that you need to do, and I'm going to be honest with you, you're going to need to keep this up for quite a while, is you need to form some kind of an obsession with this. You need to have it be interesting. At one point, it's all that I ever thought about. On my lunch breaks at work, I'd be reading about it or watching videos. When I got home, I'd be doing more learning. And it was all that I ever really talked about with anybody, to the point where people like my wife was starting to wonder, hey, did your mom have Tylenol while she was pregnant with you? Because it seriously, it got to the point of,
I like trains.
oh yeah, well, I like cross-site scripting. Have I had a chance to show you this new double URL encoded payload that I've been playing around with? Here, check it out. But in all seriousness, you do need to find a way to keep your attention going with this. For me, I'd go through and watch people do demos of exploits that they were working on, or I'd watch people do some capture the flag challenges. And in all honesty, whenever I was driving to work or on lunch, I was typically listening to a podcast. Two of my favorites were Darknet Diaries, just because they have really cool stories, and Critical Thinking. They're definitely more on the technical side, but in all honesty, I've still learned a lot from them, even though, especially at the beginning, I didn't understand everything that they were talking about. So once you've found the way that you're going to build and maintain your interest throughout the process, because like I said, at the beginning, it is a very slow burn, it's time to start preparing and finally to start learning. And this is the point where you need to be honest about where your knowledge level is. Ego is only going to derail your progress, and it's honestly not worth it. If you don't know something, suck it up and go off and learn it. If you do have some experience, then great. Definitely pick up where you feel comfortable starting at. But for a lot of people, that's going to be at the very beginning. It's also at this point that if you haven't already, you should set up a virtual machine with some kind of a Linux distro on it. In this kind of field, I recommend Kali or Parrot, just because they're great options, simply because they come pre-packaged with a lot of the security tools. And once you have that installed, take some time to get used to it. For a lot of you, Linux is going to be a brand new experience, so get your feet wet, play around with it, figure out how you install programs, and get over your fear of the command line or the terminal. You're going to be using it a lot, so you can't be afraid of it. The next thing is invest in yourself. Honestly, go to try Hack Me and pay for their premium package. That's going to get you everything that you're going to need to have. You're going to have access to unlimited boxes and all of their learning paths. And in all honesty, at least at the time of recording, their monthly plan sets about $17 a month, or if you're really dedicated, $10.50 per month for a full year. So it's definitely worth taking a look at. And this so far has been my most useful tool. Look, I'm not sponsored by Try Hack Me or anything, but I want to take some time to show you guys a few things. So if we pop over here to learn, we can take a look and we can see the roadmap. They lay out the entire roadmap for you. And seriously, they start you from the very basics. So even if you're feeling like you don't even know how to use a computer properly, they'll start you there. Once you get through all your fundamental parts, you can even skip them. You can get down here and you have 3 different paths that you can go down. The one that I'm going down and have gone down the majority of is this penetration tester path. They have junior penetration tester, which is an awesome way to get your foot in the door in terms of knowledge, just because of the sheer amount of content that they cover. They touch a lot of web app stuff in here, but they do primarily focus on different, machines. You can go through, you can get their PT1 certification. I haven't done that yet myself, but it's something that I intend on doing at some point in time. And then they start to get people ready more for bug bounty style things, which is web fundamentals and web application pen testing. These two sections are 100% focused on web apps and trying to break into those. And then you get into the more advanced stuff like red teaming. If hacking isn't your thing, then you can go down the security analyst path, which is more of the defensive side. And if you want to get into security engineering, hey, check it out. They have some sections for that as well. Honestly, it's just a really good all around resource. Like I said, I'm not sponsored by them, but I can't say enough good things about them. In addition to all that, you should definitely read some books. And I have 3 of them that I'm going to recommend to you, and I'll have links to those down in the description. The first book that I'm going to recommend is Bug Bounty Bootcamp. Honestly, this book is really good at explaining a lot of the vulnerabilities and giving a couple of different exploits for them along the way. This one I would definitely say is probably the most beginner friendly because it kind of walks you from absolute novice to at least a decent understanding for each section. It doesn't get too technical, and it's really good at explaining things. The next book that I'd recommend is Real World Bug Hunting. This one does an awesome job, once again, of explaining the vulnerabilities, but it goes through and it provides real life examples of how people have gotten bug bounties using the exploits that it talks about in the book. This book is really solid if you want to see how things are being directly applied and how people think about different exploits in different ways and how you can chain things together. It's kind of interesting. And the final book that I'm going to recommend for right now is the Web Application Hacker's Handbook, 2nd edition. This is by far the driest book out of the 3 that I have recommended so far, but it is the one that is the most information rich out of all of them. This is a book that I would definitely recommend at least reading once cover to cover, but it's going to be a book that you're going to go back to and use as reference countless times. And besides that, you guys, honestly, just learn to code a little bit. You don't have to be an expert at it, but at least be able to write a couple of programs here and there. They don't have to be super complicated, and definitely understand how to read it. If you're going into hacking without knowing at least a little bit of coding, it's kind of like you're just throwing things at the wall and trying to see if something sticks. You're going to be significantly more efficient, at least knowing the basics and being able to throw together a script or 2 to speed up your process. I personally use AI as a faster search engine, so if I have a question about something new that I haven't worked with before, I'll ask ChatGPT, and I can ask further questions instead of having to go through and search through endless forums with God knows what we're going to get for answers. And as I'd mentioned, if you can hold your interest through this section, this is the hardest part. So once you get through this, you have it. You have the fundamentals. But that doesn't mean that your learning is done. By this point, you should know a few vulnerabilities and exploits, but that's just the surface. Most of the basic exploits that you've learned won't work exactly the way that you taught in the real world. Honestly, you're going to have to find a way to make a lot of those things work together. Like, you have to be able to obfuscate payloads, and you need to find different firewall and filter bypass techniques. And a lot of the times, merging those techniques with what you've already learned can be a bit of a challenge, so it definitely requires a creative mind. You have to think outside of the box a lot of the time. If you want some real world examples, go and read some write ups for bug bounties on platforms like HackerOne. They're a wealth of knowledge. Also, by this time, you should already know a good amount of tools, at least at a basic level. So take some time to learn them a little bit deeper. And when you're done with that, go off and find and learn some new tools. Also, you don't have to be a generalist in this field, especially if you're trying to get into doing things like bug bounty hunting. What I hear a lot of successful people in that field doing is just getting really, really, really good at 2 to 3 different vulnerability types and specialize in those. And then practice. There's a ton of different platforms out there that let you do different capture the flag challenges. Try Hack Me is one of them. They have boxes that start off from a super novice level and they go up to an advanced level. And if you get bored of those, there's also Hack the Box. No matter what, there will always be a box ready for you to practice or learn some new skill. Which brings us to our final section. Never stop learning. Like I said, continue doing different capture the flags. Get better. And if you find capture the flag challenges to be getting a little stale for your liking, then go sign up for a bug bounty program on HackerOne or something. See what it's like to apply your skills in the real world. I'm going to give you a heads up. It's a little bit of a rude awakening. If you got some spare time and curiosity, set up a home lab. Even something as simple as a spare computer that you can connect to a local network. From there, you can do a bunch of different projects, even something like building a simple web app, then hack into it, find a way to stop your attack, then try to find a way around that, and just repeat that cycle over and over and over again. It'll make you a more well rounded cybersecurity specialist. And finally, if you're feeling charitable, take some time to teach somebody else some of this. It's really rewarding, and I forget exactly who it was that said it, but they said to be able to teach is a sign of mastery. So take that step. And with that, you guys, it's the end of the video. I really hope that you enjoyed it. If you did enjoy the video, please consider subscribing and leave a comment with where you are in your journey. Are you just beginning? Have you already been in it for a while? And also let me know what kinds of things you want to see next. And if you liked the video, leave it a like. Those let me know whether or not the community likes these kinds of videos. And if you do, I'll make more like it. If not, I'll make less like it. But until the next one, you guys, I'll catch you all later. Have a good one.